Hi there, it's Heather from Thrift to Flip. Today I'm going to show you what sold over the past 7 days. So we're looking at the date range from April 15th through the 21st. During this range, I sold 32 items, and I'm going to go over the numbers at the end of the video, and I'll tell you exactly what I paid for each item, and I will also tell you the fees that I paid, and I will tell you my total profit after all is said and done, so you can see exactly what this week looked like for me. So let's jump in. The first item that I sold this week was this dress by a brand called AUW. I had never heard of them before, but it was just a cute sundress, and I picked it up, and it sold actually within probably a day of listing. It did sell for $22, and my profit after fees on this item was $17.60. Item number 2 was this Gymshark workout leggings. They were really unique looking, and I was super excited to find them at the bins. I did sell them for $14. I had them listed quite a bit higher, I believe at $28. Somebody made me an offer, and they had been listed for a while, so I went ahead and accepted it. And so my profit on this was $11.05. The next item is this Columbia pair of board shorts. They are from their PFG line, which is their pro fishing gear line, I believe. And they did have a slight flaw on them, so I didn't have them listed nearly as high as I normally would, but I did get an offer for $12 and accept the offer because they did have that flaw. My profit was $9.05 on this flip. The next item is a Torrid swimsuit. I actually have a Torrid store in my local mall, but I have never gone into Torrid because it's not something that I wear. They don't cater to my size, so I just had never gone in. And out of curiosity, I went in there last week, and I was really surprised by their retail pricing. They did have some swimsuits in their clearance rack, and the clearance price on them was over $90. Now, these were new with tags, but still, it made me really regret accepting the offer that I had on this swimsuit. So I did have it originally priced at $49, and it was in great shape. I did pick it up at the bins. Somebody made me an offer. I had been getting quite a bit of likes on it, but no offers, and it had been listed just a couple of days. Somebody made me an offer for $20, and I accepted. I definitely regret that. I wish I would have held out for either countered or held out for more on this, because I definitely think I could have gotten closer to at least that $49 I had it listed for. But lesson learned, this one did sell for $20, and my profit after fees was $16 on this item. Next up, we have this loft dress, and it had been in my closet for quite some time. I have been running a 4 for $25 bundle sale on some of my oldest inventory because I'm tired of looking at it, tired of sharing it, and so I just want to move on and clear some of that out. So this was one of those pieces. However, this person did not want to bundle it. They did just go ahead and make me an offer for $12, which I accepted because it's definitely higher than I would have taken on this item if it had been put in that 4 for $25 bundle, making it my profit after fees $9.05 on this dress, and I was just happy to move it out of my closet. Then we have this new tag, I think it's Ellie or Ely Tahari dress. And I have had this. This is one of the very first pieces that I ever put into my closet. I did find it at the bins new with tag. I believe that the retail price on this was about $300 on that tag that was on there. I had it listed about $78, but somebody did make me an offer for $55, which I was happy to accept because this had been in my closet for about 3 months and had like no action. The picture wasn't very good. So I was super happy to take that $55 offer, and after fees I made $44 on this flip. Next up, we have this Rachel by Rachel Roy sleeveless top. This one was just a kind of bread and butter pickup from the bins, nothing super special about it. It did sell for $18. That was an offer made by me to likers, so I did have to pay that mandatory shipping discount along with that offer, which I will detail later at the end of the video, how that all breaks down on my weekly profit. But my earnings on this flip were $12.60. Next, I sold this Hollister floral print sundress. It was just kind of a normal, flowy kind of sundress. I did sell it for $20, which was an offer to likers. I had it listed at $24. I made an offer for $20, which a buyer accepted. My earnings on this flip were $14.20. Next up, we have this Lilka, which is a brand that's carried at Anthropologie. It was a jumpsuit, and it had this interesting floral print. It was navy in color, and I had it listed, I believe, at $48, but I did get an offer on it for $25, and it had been listed for a couple of weeks, so I did go ahead and accept the offer. My earnings on this flip were $20 after fees. Next, I have this pair of Stuart Weitzman gold metallic kind of strappy high-heeled shoes. I did find these at the bins, and it was my first time finding the brand Stuart Weitzman, so I was excited about that. I did have them listed, I believe, at $42, but I got an offer for $35, which I happily accepted. After fees, my profit on this flip was $28. Next up is the first and only time I have ever picked up this brand, which is Coldwater Creek. I know it's kind of more of a mature brand in terms of its clientele, but I just really love this piece, and I try not to limit myself in terms of what I pick up by brand if the piece is actually cute. So this piece was a maxi skirt that was pleated, and it was floral. It was really like springy and kind of boho festival vibes to it. So I did pick it up. I had it listed in my closet for a good 2 months, probably closer to 3 months actually. And I did include it in that 4 for $25 bundle sale. Again, like that loft dress earlier, the buyer did not choose to put this one in a bundle. They just wanted the skirt by itself. So I did go ahead and make an offer to likers for $18 on this one, and my earnings after all of the fees were $12.60. Next up is this BCBG Max Azria silk top. I don't remember exactly what I had this one listed for originally, but I did get an offer for $17, which I happily accepted because it had been listed in my closet for several weeks. My profit after fees on this flip was $13.60. Next up is this pair of Steve Madden heels. They had a very sharp pointed toe and this really cool mirrored heel on them, stiletto heel. And I really love this pair of shoes, and I was surprised they sat in my closet as long as they did, but I did finally get an offer on them for $20, which I was happy to accept. My earnings on this flip after fees were $16. Next up, I have this Torrid top. It was a sheer top with little blue Swiss dots all over it, very cute. And I had it listed for $28, I believe. I did make an offer to likers for $25, which somebody accepted. And my profit after all was said and done was $18.20 on this flip. Next up, I have a pair of Gap mid-rise deconstructed denim shorts. I had them listed at $22, I believe. I did go ahead and make an offer to likers for $18, which a buyer happily accepted. And my profits after all was said and done on this flip were $12.60. All right, this next sale, I have had some Hudson jeans just kind of sitting in my to be listed pile for quite some time. And I finally got around to listing them, which I'm happy I did because I got this sale about a day after I listed. It's a pair of Hudson jeans. The style is the L mid-rise baby boot. They were a dark wash. I had them listed for, I believe, $32. I had a buyer make me an offer for $25, which I was happy to accept. My profit on this flip was $20. Okay, next we have this Chico's printed V-neck maxi dress. It was super cute, and I hesitated to let it go for as little as I did. However, I had not really had any action, and I don't love selling maxi dresses just because I don't have a great way to photograph them. I feel like my product photography when it comes to maxi dresses just does not show them off at the level that they really deserve. It doesn't make them look as appealing as they do in person. So I have actually been holding off on buying maxi dresses lately just because I don't feel like I can do them justice when it comes to actually putting them up for sale. So this one, I did take only $12 for it. I would have liked to get closer to $20 or $25. I believe I had it listed at $36, and I got an extremely low ball offer, but because I really hadn't had any action on it, I did go ahead and accept. My earnings after everything on this flip were $9.05. All right, next I have a bundle, and I've talked a couple of times during this video about that sale that I've had going on, that 4 for $25 sale. I did have a buyer here put 5 of those items, those 4 for $25 items, into a bundle. So I did go ahead and extend that price to that 5th item. And so I took an offer. She made me an offer for $30, which I accepted. Of course, I would not ever recommend doing this in terms of your sales strategy, because it's really a lot of work for not a lot of money. But for me, wanting to just clear some of these pieces out, I'm super happy to just kind of move them out of my closet and just take a minimal amount of profit for them in order to do that. So that was what this sale was about. I did move these 5 items for that $30. After fees, my earnings on this sale were $24. The next item that I sold this week was this Banana Republic gray eyelet print mini skirt. And I say eyelet print because it wasn't eyelet lace, but it had a very similar feel, but it was a print over the skirt. So that's just kind of what I called it. I thought it fit. I did have this listed at $22. I got an offer for $15, which I accepted, and after fees, my earnings were $12 on this flip. Next, we have a pair of jeans that I adored, and I would have kept these for myself, selfishly, if they had been my size. Unfortunately, they were 2 sizes too big, and so I just could not justify keeping them. So somebody came along and snatched these up within a day of listing. The brand is J Brand, and they were a dark wash, high-rise flare jean, which is my favorite silhouette for a jean right now. The price I had them listed at was $36. I did get an offer for $30, which I was happy to accept. My earnings after fees on this flip were $24. Next up, I have this Gap. It was a Gap fit, open back blue tank top. The front of it wasn't very remarkable, but the back had a really cool design to it. And I did have it priced at $18. I did make an offer to Likers on this for $14, which a buyer accepted. After fees, my earnings on this flip were $9.25. Next, we have this T Tahari. It was a pink and red shift dress. It's just kind of like a color block shift dress. And I had it originally priced at $48. I did get an offer for $36, which I accepted, and my earnings after fees on this flip were $28.80. Then we have this J. Jill striped tunic top. It was linen, 100% linen, and it was just a really good quality piece from J. Jill. J. Jill can be hit or miss, but for me it's been selling decently lately, so I was happy to move this piece out of my closet, and I made a decent profit. I did have it priced originally at $28. I got an offer for $23, which I accepted. After fees, my earnings on this flip were $18.40. Next, I have this Who What Wear sheath dress. I don't think it's actually a sheath dress, but honestly, I did a ton of research on Pinterest and could not figure out what silhouette, what to call the silhouette of this dress. But regardless of that, this dress was super pretty. Now, Who What Wear is a Target brand and not a brand that I've picked up a bunch. I think I've picked it up maybe one other time, and that sold pretty quickly too. This one sold within a day, and I had it listed at $24 just because it's a Target brand dress. I didn't want to price it too high. And I got an offer for $21, which I was super happy to accept. I figured this thing would probably go for $12 to $15, so $21 was an awesome sale. After fees, my earnings on this flip were $15. Okay, just a few more to go. This next one is a Betsy Johnson teal strappy knot slingbacks. I grabbed these at the bins, just like everything else I sold this week. We'll talk more about that later, but these shoes were basically brand new. The bottom looked like it had never been worn outside, but they didn't have a tag or anything on them suggesting that they were new with tags, so I did list them as used. They did actually sit in my closet for a couple of weeks, and I got an offer for $17 on them. I had hoped they would go for closer to $25 to $30, but $17 I was happy to accept. My earnings after fees on this flip were $13.60. Then we have this Lulu's A-line summer sundress. I felt like I had heard somewhere on another YouTube video from another reseller that Lulu's was a good brand to pick up, so when I saw it, I was really excited. And because of what I talked about with maxi dresses earlier, I did not get this thing listed I probably had it for a couple of months before I actually listed it. Once I got it listed though, it sold pretty quick. I believe I had it listed at $32, and I got an offer for $25, which I was happy to accept. My earnings after fees on this flip were $20. Then we have this Wooden Ships sweater by Anthropologie. Wooden Ships is an Australian brand that actually is not exclusively sold at Anthropologie, but it was sold there. Just this particular sweater was sold there. And I had found it at the bins in one of my previous haul videos. You can actually see me finding it. I loved this sweater, and I was surprised that it actually sat in my closet for as long as it did, and it really wasn't getting much love. I think it was really the style of the sweater made it extremely difficult to photograph and make it look appealing. I don't have a mannequin, so it just kind of laid flat on the ground, and I think it just didn't look very appetizing, appealing for a buyer. I did have someone come along and offer me $15 for it. I'm not remembering exactly what I had it listed for, but I'm pretty sure that was a pretty lowball offer. I did accept it though, because I'm all about just moving the things out of my closet. So I was happy to see it just find a new home with that buyer. My earnings after fees on this flip were $12. Okay, you've made it this far, and we have reached the very last item that I sold last week on Poshmark. So this last item, again, it was listed for quite a while in my closet, and this brand is a Target brand. The brand is Ava and Viv, and because it's their plus size brand, I pretty much, if something is cute, I pick it up every time I see it because I'm at the bins, so it's only about $1. And I can always flip Ava and Viv in usually within a couple of days. It sells pretty fast for me. I try to price it reasonably. This particular top I had listed at $15, and I have started to rethink my pricing strategy with Ava and Viv, so this one was my old pricing strategy. I did have it listed for $15. I did make an offer to Likers on this one for $12, and so my earnings after fees on this was $7.25. Okay, we've now come to the end of all of those items that sold on Poshmark for me last week. The date range for that week was April 15th through the 21st, and I sold 32 items during that weekly period. These were just my sales on Poshmark. I did not have any other sales on Mercari or eBay. I am not actively pursuing those heavily, so that is not surprising to me. I've just started to cross-post to Mercari more frequently this past week, so we'll see how that turns out, and I'll report back on that later. Now, the numbers for this week. I had a total of $606 in sales. That was the gross sales before any fees or anything like that. So we had $606 in sales. I had $123.70 in Poshmark fees that I paid out of that $606. I then had $14.40 in shipping fees. Those are the fees that Poshmark makes you pay when you make an offer to Likers and they accept that $1.80 shipping discount that they make you do. That is the $14.40. Because I sold 32 items, my cost of goods this week, meaning the amount of money that I put into the clothes that I sold, was $32, because I do all of my sourcing for the most part at the Goodwill outlet, aka the bins. And so I pay on average $1 per item. When I average out my items when I go to the bins, I take the total amount that I paid that day and divide it by the number of items that I got. So I don't actually separate out, okay, I paid this for shoes and this for that. I just take it all as one and divide it across, and it generally ends up being $1 an item unless I get over 50 pounds. So when I'm thinking about how to price and everything, it keeps things really simple for me. Everything was $1, and so then I know how to price. So my cost of goods were $32. After all of the fees, my total profit for this 7-day period was $435.90. So not too bad for that period of time. Typically, last month I was doing about almost $600 per week, so I am running behind my total from last month, which is a little bit concerning just because I want to be growing and I don't want to be lagging behind. I have a tendency to think that this month is running a little bit slower for a couple of different reasons. We have tax stuff going on this month. so a lot of people aren't spending like they normally do. We also had Easter, and on top of those things, Poshmark also implemented their sales tax this month. And I know that for myself and for a few of my fellow resellers that I've been talking to, they have been not making as many purchases on Poshmark just because after shipping and the sales tax, it does raise the price of the item quite significantly from that original price you plan on paying. So I think these things have just kind of got to work themselves out, and then hopefully things will rebound back next week, but I will report back and let you know how my sales go next week. If you want to check out my closet, you can at namastebabe.com. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, and until next time, bye!